COVID, yeah, COVID was definitely something that hit everybody really hard. I think, most people are still kind of dazed and confused. Um,
Mm.
is there anything, I mean, many of us discovered things about ourselves throughout COVID or because of COVID. Um, is there anything that you discovered about yourself that maybe surprised you?
I feel like COVID wasn't a massive time of reflection for me because actually during the pandemic, our sales kind of quadrupled, and I we were like struggling to keep up. So that I don't feel like I had an awful lot of time to reflect. But I think what I learnt and valued is, I'm married, I've got two children who are like teenagers, and often my husband doesn't come home to quite late, like 8:30, 9, and so we don't always often sit down and eat together. But one thing I did learn during COVID was we basically sat down lunchtime and dinner every day, and how positive that was for us as a family, how positive it was for my children that we were both there, we were both available. And actually I would say like the communication like really changed within between parents to children, and they definitely kind of opened up, and we had some laughs as well. We played games and stuff like that. So I think I learned the value of family time, and that can be really hard when you're a working parent to be available there with your children. But I definitely learned that that was extremely important, not just for them, but also for me.
Oh, amazing. That's beautiful. Um, I think it's interesting because a lot of people seem to, the word resilience has
Mm-hmm.
kind of been one of those buzzwords that's come out of it, especially for a lot of people, but a lot of women in particular have talked about developing resilience or discovering that they had resilience that they didn't know.
Mm.
And I mean, for you, it sounds like that the fire must have tested your resilience and probably proved that you've got a lot of it. Um, I mean, do you think that resilience is one of the top qualities maybe for people going into business, for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I think of resilience and I think of determination, and I think, you know, you, as it's like trying to work out the difference, like, I feel like from, determination is really, really important, because you will get a lot of doors shut in your face, and it's like, how do you keep going and how do you keep pushing through? And I guess what you need is resilience in order to do that, right? It's kind of like they work together. And yeah, so I think passion for what you want to do is really important. Determination, patience is also really important, because things don't happen when you want them to happen. They happen when they're meant to happen, and I've really learned that. And they happen at the time when it's right for the business. And you can try forcing and forcing and forcing, and all that ends up happening is you just get into this state of like inner battle where you never feel content. And often there's a kind of like, okay, I always have like, if I'm going to contact somebody, I have like a 3-strike rule. I'll send 3 emails. If you don't reply by the 3rd one, okay, I'm putting that down, I'm leaving that. We'll see what happens. Well, maybe we'll come back to it in 6 months' time, maybe we won't. But I don't think it's worth kind of like just keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, because that takes so much energy and it's exhausting. So I think, yeah, determination, obviously you need resilience in order to have the determination, and patience and passion are really important, and an ability to hear, to listen, because sometimes you get told things that you don't really want to hear, and it's, I kind of hear people say, oh, people will say no, just carry on. And yes, sometimes there is a case of people will say no to you, but you stay true to your core values and you carry on. But sometimes there people are saying something that's really of value, and you do need to listen. And it's kind of like working out when to listen and when not. And I guess that kind of comes down to, how does it make you feel inside? Because as long as you feel aligned with your core values, then it's okay. And I guess when it's something that takes you away from that, then you may notice it. But yeah, I feel like I'm rambling a bit on this, but I think it's important to listen as well as knowing when to go, thanks for that piece of advice, but I'm going to stick with what I believe and go for it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I guess it's kind of about that inner compass, isn't it? And it's kind of like the inner compass. It's a bit your intuition, and whether things feel right. You know, if somebody tells you, as you said, if somebody tells you something, advises you something, and it doesn't make your stomach jump, then maybe it's positive stuff. And whereas sometimes if you have a reaction where you're clenching or whatever, then actually maybe you need to reconsider that and park it, revisit it another time, because you know, our inner compass is such a guide. Our intuition is such a guide.
Absolutely.
And you know, we feel when things are right, and we feel when things are wrong, and sometimes we choose to ignore them at our own peril. But it's definitely the case. Yeah, for sure.
And I think also, you know, I think sometimes you can get so caught up, and I notice this sometimes, you know, in like a team dynamic with things being perfect, and sometimes things, it's impossible for things to be perfect. Sometimes you just need to kind of go with it. Like when it's like the best it can be, the best that you can get it to at this point, let's still go with it, even though it's not 100%, because, you know, that procrastination, you know, can sometimes stop you even taking a step forward. So I do also think, you know, don't be afraid to move forward when things aren't 100% perfect. As long as you know that, you know, they're at least 60, 70% perfect, then I think it's okay.
Oh, Michelle, I feel as though you're talking to me. As a recovering perfectionist, you know, it's something that I've sort of had to take on board over the past past couple of years. I sort of thought, okay, you know what? If it's 80% ready, let it fly, because people are not really going to look at the nitty gritty of every sentence. You know, they're not going to analyze the grammar to that extent that you're analyzing it. They're not going to analyze this, that, and the other. So put it out there and let it fly.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, you know, it's just a case of the energy of it. You know, if it's coming with a, you know, good positive energy, and you've made an effort, people are still going to feel that.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I love that. So, Michelle, let's talk about your well-being practices, because, you know, Wow Beauty is all about sort of holistic beauty and well-being. And it's very much, you know, I just love hearing about different people's journeys to well-being and all that it encompasses. So what does well-being look like for you?
Well-being looks like, for me, therapy, regular therapy. I'm not embarrassed or afraid to say that, you know, I really wouldn't have achieved half of what I've done today without a therapist, somebody there that I can talk through, you know, issues, challenges, triggers. You know, for me, it's been really, what's the word? It's been like a real amazing guidance through my life. And, you know, I stop and start it, but it is there as a constant. It always happens. And then I guess, you know, I've never been, I know some people love the gym, but I really hate the gym, and I find it really boring, and exercise is really, you know, I'm really bad. I like go, right, I'm going to do some today. And I feel like I have this conversation every week with myself, and I don't, and I've even kind of said, right, I'm only going to do 15 minutes, and I'm still not achieving that every day. So exercise, whilst I know it can be good for you, isn't necessarily my go-to, but I definitely find meditation really, really helpful. I'm a Gemini. My mind is just constantly on, it's just literally never stops. And it's sometimes really hard to work out one thought from another and try to get some clarity on what decision I should make. So I find meditation really helps to keep me calm and centered. And so I'm really working at the moment at trying to do a daily practice. And sometimes it's only 5 minutes, sometimes it's 10 minutes, but I really feel like I make my best decisions, my most aligned decisions, when I have meditated. So I find that really, really, really helpful for my well-being. Being with my girlfriends, having a cocktail with my girlfriends is so good for my well-being. Like, laughter is the best medicine, right?
Yes.
It is the best medicine, and they make me laugh so much.
Yeah.
So I really love being with my girlfriends too and spending time with them. And there's so many. Reading. I find reading really helps to just shut my mind off at the end of the night. So I read every single night. I'm an avid reader, and I occasionally, and I need to do this more often, so this is a good reminder to myself, like just running a lovely hot bath and pouring some aromatherapy associates, inner strength, into the bath.
Yes. Oh my God, you're speaking my language. I love inner strength.
It's
Love
so
it.
lovely. It's amazing, that one, right? I just love
Yeah.
it. And maybe listening to a podcast, because I love listening to podcasts too.
Yeah, yeah. In the bath with some candles,
Yeah,
podcast or an audiobook sometimes.
yeah,
Amazing. So chilled.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So your well-being, yeah, you've got it pretty nicely sewn up. I mean, meditation, I completely agree with you. Um, I do try, I am trying to get a daily practice, and actually sometimes if my morning starts slightly, if I do it first thing,
Yes.
then great. Sometimes I don't, and then I end up trying to rush, and then I'll just do like I'll stand up and just do some affirmations and giving thanks and all that, and that just helps as well, just to sort of help me to get that focus for my day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
really
you're right.
powerful.
I'm the same. If I don't get it done in the morning, it's just not going to happen. But so yeah, it's like having, I was listening to a podcast with Stephen Bartlett and Rangan Chatterjee the other day, and he was talking about like a morning ritual. And I think he recommends 3 things. One of them is movement, meditation, and I can't remember what the third one is. But I kind of thought that's really great. And the movement, he was like, it can sometimes be 2 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long period of time. I think sometimes we feel so time strapped that we mentally kind of block ourselves from doing things because I haven't got the time. But yeah, so I think a good morning ritual is really beneficial to just kind of keeping your day kind of on track. And I do sometimes find, if I'm like struggling in the day, just to take myself away from the computer and just go for a walk, just change the scene, that can really, really help as well. Just change my mindset.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've even resorted to, I mean, I've always got candles around me. So there's candles at home, my bedside, the lounge, in the office. I've got candles on the desk. There's incense, it's like a little altar almost, and
I
some
love that.
crystals.
Yes,
And,
me too. Crystals by the bed.
sometimes, yeah, for sure. And sometimes when your head just gets all that stuff, it's just too much going on in there, and you're like, ooh. And then sometimes I just meditate at my desk. I'll just sit there, put my headphones in, and just do a visualization and do the breathing thing just for like 3, 4, 5 minutes. And it just helps me to get back to some kind of clarity.
That's a good tip, Denise. I'm going to use that tip. That's a good one. Put your
Because
headphones on and
sometimes,
just
just step out of everything. And have you ever tried yoga nidra? Because I've been doing that sometimes at night.
Yes.
And that's like, oh yeah, really helps me to just calm down, decompress,
Yes.
just block those thoughts out and fall asleep.
Yeah, absolutely. I have done yoga nidra many times over the years at bedtime. It's really good for that. 100%. I feel like we're completely aligned on this, Denise. I've got crystals in the office. I've got candles on my desk. I've got like essential oil diffusers.
Oh yes, I've got that. There's one right next to me here in the lounge. Wow.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important. I think, do you think that women in particular are focusing on well-being enough in terms of how they manage their working lives and their home lives?
I don't know. I mean, if I think about my friends, I think, no, not often. I think, it's really hard. And I think if you have a family as well, it's like, you feel pulled from so many different directions, and it's really hard to stop and put yourself first. And, you know, you can't really be all right for anyone else if you're not all right for yourself. So I think that it's definitely something that we could do more of. And you know, as much as I love going for a drink and having a few glasses of wine, nothing beats just kind of like really taking some time for some proper self-care. You know, it stands me in good stead for a lot longer. But yeah, so I feel like I think women are better at it than men, because I think for men it's not something that they've kind of, it's ever kind of been really, I don't know what's the word, they've never really been taught that kind of thing, men, you know, and you know, not to be in touch with their emotions. That's really kind of quite a new thing. And so I think women are probably better at it because it's probably been something that they're more marketed. They're more marketed to with that kind of thing than men are. But I still think that generally we're not doing it as much as we potentially need.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that. I mean, I think when we look at some of the statistics in relation to stress and anxiety, it's clear that the balance isn't right yet, and there's a lot more work to be done. And in terms of your, so you talked about podcasts. So you like podcasts and you like reading. So have you got? Is there a book or a couple of books that you always have nearby that you always return to?
So I never read a book more than once. Like I read it once and that's it. So I never return to a book, and I don't really read books on being an entrepreneur or anything like that. I kind of read books that take me out of my, like it takes me out of my world into somebody else's. I'm looking for a story. So I've read some really incredible books, like The Great Alone was a really good book. And what was the one? Is it something about June? Was a really, I can't remember, terrible memory, perimenopausal memory, so you'll have to forgive me, but that was also a really good book. So I don't really return to books. I just literally read and then move on to the next one. I'm currently just finishing Black Cake, which I found it was okay. Not my favorite, but it's okay.
And what about podcasts? Have you got any favorite podcasts?
Yes, I do. So I do listen. I listen. I love Stephen Bartlett's The Diary of a CEO. I love that. I also love How to Fail by Elizabeth Day. Really enjoy that. I've listened to some of the Oprah ones, and Brené Brown. You must know Brené Brown, Denise.
Of course. Yeah.
So I really love all her talk about vulnerability, and that really resonated with me. So yeah, I is there anything else that I've missed? I think those are the ones that I tend to listen to most of the time.
Yeah. No, I mean podcasts. I'm like, how could you not love podcasts? There's so many. There's something for everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, they run the gamut of every subject out there, and it's great sometimes when you're sort of doing something mundane, like I don't know, vacuuming or something, when you just you can pop a podcast on and listen and learn and be inspired and have a laugh as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just I just love hearing about other people. I love learning about their lives, their stories. I find people fascinating, so I really enjoy it.
Michele, you so with all your experience as a businesswoman, do you mentor? Do you have role models, and do you mentor other people? And have you been mentored as well?
So I don't really have a mentor. I have the guy that helped me kind of create the formulations for my products. He's always been a really amazing source of wisdom. And so when things have kind of like happened, like opportunities, for instance, we were offered an opportunity to potentially go into Whole Foods in America. This is a few years ago. And, he really helped me see that it was running before I could walk, and it wasn't the right thing to do, and to back away, which is quite a big thing to do, to walk away from a global opportunity, but it was definitely the right thing to do. So he's really helped me kind of, in terms of like wisdom, and just kind of helping me make the right decisions. I would love to mentor. I have, I don't kind of do it on a regular basis. I have been approached by different kind of younger brands, younger founders, and definitely helped them. So there's UK Curly Girl, she's got her own hair care brand that she just kind of creates accessories and stuff, like satin caps and stuff like that. And she was doing pictures and stuff, and she just wanted to talk to me about stuff, and I was really happy to give her my time and talk through stuff, and really help her. I want her to be successful, so I'm really happy to pass on the knowledge and the wisdom, and hope that other people can do something amazing. And I think my goal, like maybe post Bouclème, when that time comes, is definitely to be able to mentor. And I have this vision that I want to basically be able to help Black female founded businesses. That's what I want to be able to do. I currently meet up with a couple of brands. You probably know them, Leah Beauty, and Maya from Maya Najai, who makes amazing perfumes.
Amazing perfumes. I've got Tabac.
Yes.
I think. Yes.
Yeah. That's the one I wear.
Yeah.
And so I meet up with them, and we kind of chat frustrations, challenges, just kind of support each other. So that's really helpful. And then Chloe, who I mentioned before, who helped me kind of set Bouclème up in the very early days. She's got her own bath and body care range, and I feel like rather than mentoring, it's kind of more like a network of support I have, that I can call on, of people who understand the issues and the challenges, and then also share inspiration and ideas. But yes, my future is definitely helping Black female founded businesses. That's really what I want to do.
Amazing. Michele, so obviously that's part of your future. I can't quite imagine you being a Gemini. I can't quite imagine that there's there'd be a life that post Bouclème. I kind of think, okay, yeah, maybe it'll be post Bouclème, because there's going to be this other thing that you started.
Yes, exactly.
That sort of got your passion. So yeah. So fantastic, Michele. Thank you so much for taking the time to share, and thank you. It's been really good. I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy hearing all about you and your journey and what's been happening and what's coming.
Thank you, Denise. It's been a real pleasure, and hopefully they'll be listening in a bath with some aromatherapy associates, oils, and some candles.
Yes.
And if you're not, think about that. Think about that for the next time.
Definitely think about that. Yeah. Thank you so much, Michele.
Thank you, Denise. It's been a pleasure.
You take care.
And you.
Bye.
Bye.